Hi all, I hope you're well, you've had a good week and you're managing to stay sane or as sane as possible, perhaps with the use of alcohol or, I don't know, family time. Anyway, I just want to thank you all for a brilliant response to the egg fried rice that I did last week. I've had some cracking pictures, a lot of you really got involved, some nice video footage, and it's just great to see you all cooking and trying some of the things and some of the ideas. Continuing from that, I've had a number of messages of people asking me how to do certain things, and this one's been quite high on the counter. So it's salt and pepper chicken wings. So again, a Chinese takeaway favourite, salt and pepper chicken wings. I'm going to show you exactly how to make those. And if you've got any questions, hit me up with a message or an email or whatever, and I'll try and get back to you. The other great thing about this recipe is the ingredients are quite similar to the number of ingredients you would have used in the egg fried rice. So if you've got any of those over, they're going to come in handy today. So the ingredients for the salt and pepper chicken wings are obviously going to start with some chicken wings that I'll show you how to prepare shortly. Some plain flour. Now I've also had a number of messages from people, and I know personally that it's difficult to get hold of plain flour at the moment. In fact, this isn't plain flour, or it's not. It's a refined plain flour, a 00 flour they use for pasta making. You could, with this recipe, use corn flour. You would even get away with self-raising flour, any gluten-free type of fine flour, because it's pretty much a dust. So don't be caught up on trying to get plain flour. Just use what flour you might have in the cupboards. The good old favourite. I've had a lot of mickey taken on my pronunciation of sesame oil, or sesame oil as my wife tells me, reliably informs me it is. This recipe I would ordinarily use Shaoxing Rice Wine or sake. You could use sherry, but I don't have any of those things and I can't get hold of them at the moment, so I'm going to use mirin, which contains a bit of alcohol. You may have some mirin. If you haven't, you can use a dry sherry, even at a push, a bit of dry white wine, because there's only a small amount in this recipe anyway. White pepper, we used that last week. Some garlic salt. If you haven't got garlic salt, then just use plain salt, because we've got garlic in the recipe. About a thumb size of ginger, and that's going to be chopped, not too finely, but fairly finely. Some chopped garlic, there's 3 large cloves in there. This bit comes up to some hot, well, reasonably medium hot chilies, and this will be down to your own preferences, how hot you want it, which type of chilies you use. That probably will be enough chilies there to make 12 chicken wings that I'm then going to halve, so it'll be 24 portions. 4 spring onions. I'd ordinarily use peanut oil. Again, I haven't got any, so I'm just going to be using a bit of vegetable oil to finish this off. And you'll also need some, about half a litre to a litre of oil for frying later on. It depends if you've got a deep fat fryer or whether you're going to do this in a pan with oil. So we've got our chicken wings. I think it's about 12 or 13 wings in there, and I'm just going to show you how to portion those. The wings often will either come like that, or they might have a piece on the end there, the end of the wing. You can just chop the end of the wing off and discard that, or use it for making gravy. I would keep them for roasting them up and adding the stock to a gravy. All you do then, there's a joint here, and you'll find it quite immediately down the middle of the two. I'm just going to section those two and just do that for the rest of the chicken. So once you've chopped your chicken wings, get a bowl, and to that bowl you're going to add, unless you've got the sherry or the sake or the Shaoxing rice wine, I'm going to add a tablespoon of mirin and a teaspoon of the sesame oil. Then you're going to add your wings to the bowl. Make sure you give your hands a good clean, and then give that a good mix up in the whatever alcohol you've got of your choice or available in the house, and the sesame oil, making sure that you coat each piece of chicken. It's not going to be completely saturated, it'll just be glossy, shining, because you're effectively going to get the flour to stick to the chicken wings. Once you've given the chicken a good mix, cover it the bowl with cling film, and you just want to leave that for about 30-40 minutes, an hour, even overnight. But essentially you just want to get some of those aromats to permeate the chicken. So I've got around about 4 or 5 heaped tablespoons of plain flour, or as you know, I'm using 00 flour on this particular occasion because I don't have any plain flour. To that I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of garlic salt. In fact, for that amount, I'm probably going to go 1.5 teaspoons of garlic salt, and about a teaspoon, just under, of white pepper, and then just give that a really good mix. And as you can probably imagine or guess, this is going to become the coating to your chicken, which is going to give it a lovely crispy texture once it's fried. We've taken our chicken wings out of the fridge. They've been in the marinade, if you like, for the half an hour plus. What I would do now is introduce half of the chicken wings to that mixture, or over, whatever, and then start to dust them with a spoon. And once they look fairly covered, you might imagine what I'm going to do next. I'm just going to introduce the second half, and just making sure that they're completely coated in the flour. While my oil is heating, I'm going to chop up my spring onions and my chilies. Just head the spring onions, discard the ends. They'll go in, the offcuts will go in stock, they're great for that. Just discard any of the shiny bits, the spring onion. And just again, once you've chopped them up, you want to make them a little finer. And each time you're just going to turn it 45 degrees. You notice what I'm doing, I keep my fingers well back away from the knife, turn it 45 degrees, and you start to get a finer spring onion. Once you chop those onions, just add them to a bowl. As you can see, I haven't been too precious. Some of them are quite fine, some of them are a little larger. Then we're going to move on to the chilies. Some people wear gloves for chilies. I never do, and obviously gloves are at a shortage right now, so you don't want to do that. Just head the chili. Again, that can go in a stock, the offcut. Cut it down the middle, put it on the flat side. I haven't touched the seeds. As long as you're not touching the seeds, you're not going to get chili in your eyes. You just want to be careful. Slicing it through, I'm staying on the skin of the chili all the time. I'm not touching the inside of the chili. And then turn them right angle 45. Keep your hand back, put it on top of the knife, and just chop like that. You might have to touch them now again because they're going to pop up. Just keep chopping away. You might notice that I haven't actually deseeded these chilies because I want that heat. Authentically, you would have the seeds in here, but if you want to take the time and you want it milder, the only thing you need to do is to take those seeds out and obviously choose a different chili, perhaps something a little more mild than normally labelled up, or have a word with your grocer and they'll be able to tell you which ones to use. I use bird eye with these normally, but I couldn't get any, so I've got like a jalapeno type of chili. Although it's not a jalapeno, they're not labelled as them, they're just labelled as mixed chilies, they're jalapeno. And they've got a nice kick to them. I've had a taste of them, but I'm going to use the seeds. Just in readiness for preparing or draining your chicken wings when they come out of the deep fat fryer, I've got a baking tray here that I'm just going to line with some kitchen paper. You could use a plate, you could use anything really, just line it with a bit of kitchen paper just to absorb the excess oil. I'm using a deep fat fryer. I've got that set around 175. What I'll do is drop the cage into the oil, and then I'm going to pick up each individual chicken wing and I'm going to lay them in the oil, just slowly introduce them and then let them go. I'll probably put about 4 or 5, possibly 6 into this and cook them for 4 minutes. Okay, I've got 6 in there and I'm going to cook them for 4 minutes, and the reason we batch cook them like this is if we introduce too many at the same time, it'll cool the oil very, very quickly, and then we won't get that lovely crispiness. After 4 minutes, you've got a great bit of colour going through the chicken, and you're just going to drain them then on the kitchen paper and set them aside. Then it's time to repeat the process again. And there's 4 batches of chicken that have had 4 minutes. What we're going to do now, we're going to put the whole lot back in, as long as you've got enough room in whichever fryer you're using, to cook them for a further 3 to 4 minutes. Okay, so I've got a hot wok. My chicken wings have been in 2 lots of 4. They're now draining on a bit of kitchen roll. You get your wok, you add about a tablespoon, maybe just under, of high smoking point oil, like vegetable oil or peanut oil, or as I said before, the oil of your choice. You may remember this, we've got quite a lot of smoke coming on because we've got plenty of heat. The spring onions you prepared, I'm going to use pretty much all of those, but I'm going to reserve just a couple to sprinkle at the end. Okay, so in go my spring onions, straight after my ginger, then I'm going to put my garlic, and again, just like the spring onions, I'm going to use 90%, 80% of the chilies, and I'm going to retain some for a garnish at the end. And then you're just quickly going to fry that on a high heat, a medium high heat, probably about 3/4 of what you would have done with the egg fried rice if you followed that, which was on max. Just for around a minute or 2. As you can see now, I've got some nice colour coming in on the vegetables, and I'm going to add my chicken wings into that and start stirring them and coating them. Just keep stirring until you've coated all of the chicken. What you've got to watch out for is the chili is going to hit that pan and you'll actually feel it kicking back. Which is why I've got the extractor fan on at the moment, because it'll catch you in the back of the throat. And when you got to this stage where it looks like you've started to coat all of the chicken wings with the vegetables, I'm going to get my famous sesame oil and just put a little tiny coating on the chicken. And then the last 2 things before you dish up: some garlic salt over the top, a little bit of white pepper. Give that a mix up. Just get my spatula, mix all that through, and then as soon as that's mixed in, we're going to serve that up. And then just plate that up, and then with the excess spring onions, just sprinkle those over the top so you've got a little bit of colour. I'm not going to go in with any extra chilli, but if you want to go in with any extra chilli, that's up to you. Only because my kids are going to eat this as well.